You know what I didn't do? I didn't test my audio, but I see it's going green light now. Oh my gosh. Christian upbringing, 8th grade education, no reason to be treating me this way. Isn't that what Willie Nelson said? Fast train sent to Georgia. How's everybody doing? I know it's been about 90 days, and I'm sorry for the color blend, but I haven't been out here to update my software in about 45, 50 days. Uh, and just kind of the last thing, I know I promised I'd be back in March, and uh, here I am. This is what it is. Hold on, I still got to do all my normal stuff when we do the startup, and that is get some screens open, get the shout outs out there, get the stuff sent out to people to know that I'm here. Figure out how much traffic I've lost because Google has lost faith in me. The YouTube University is what it is. If you're not putting out stuff daily, all right, this is going to cause a problem for me. Because it's that is my alarm going off telling me that I was going to start this thing. Uh, and now I can't figure out how to get the alarm to go off. Okay, Google, turn off alarm. Nope, it's going to start right back up on me. Do everything but what I ask you to do, Google, because you're not bright enough to know how to turn off the features I turn on, right? Uh, and there's actually no screen pop-up saying, hey, it's your alarm going off. Yeah. Is it just supposed to be smart enough to know I picked it up? I just didn't set it down roughly enough. Nope, you're restarting my decks. Start now. If it goes off in 10 more minutes, I'm going to hate Google. Oh, look at this thing just doing what it's going to do, regardless of what I want. You can't see it. Okay, give me a second here, guys. I got to get the YouTube world going. I got to open a screen. I'm going to move that up here to screen 3. YouTube.com. How's everybody doing? Go ahead and start chatting. I'll catch up in the chat in a second. I know there's always guys that are in there in the first few seconds. We'll catch up on some of the Discord discussions that have taken place while I've been laying in hospice or sitting around in bed doing nothing, whichever way you want to see it. I want to create, go live. Wow, that is like way expanded. Ha! One of the things is my green lens glasses, which helps me see. I set them down somewhere, and despite 5 people having looked around and me not leaving the house in 7 weeks, no one can figure out what the hell I did with them. Yeah. I said on, save. I got a glare on the big screen up here. Let's see. Let's go here. And I can see the chat, but no one's chatted. We do have some viewers online, though. All right. And get some edit. Excuse me on the cough. You're going to see me drinking some Pepto tonight because, believe it or not, water is upsetting my stomach. And details. That all looks right. All right. If I can remember where we left off 90 days ago on our last live, I said crazy things like the economy's going to go into an over hyperinflation, and the only way out of it was to create a war with Russia. I didn't watch the news. What are you guys happening? What's going on over in Russia? What are they doing? Are we still sending blankets? I don't need a ride. I need bullets. Isn't that what the man said? And then I see all this advertising. Be with the people of Ukraine. I think Trump wanted to give them some missiles to shoot down some helicopters so they wouldn't blow up buildings. But, that Trump guy was just freaking crazy. We had to get rid of his ass. What did he know? Oh, I think the last time then, you got to be careful what you say out there. See, that's that freaking. Guys, if this don't quit, I'm going to have to turn off my phone. It's not telling me about the alarm. All right. USB's connected. I think it's because my USB cable's connected. There's a. Oh, so I got a screen that says alarm ringing. Literally, the screen says the alarm's ringing, but doesn't give anything to do with it. Let me go to. I'm so glad my software has been updated on my phone. How dare I not look at my phone every 5 minutes? Look at that. Okay, so turn that alarm off manually because I can't tell it to do it. You guys heard me do that a little earlier. That's amazing. Google is such a wonderfully improving service every day. I love seeing my screen pop up, knowing that it's listening to me. It's just not acknowledging me. And what's up with my charging stand? I need that to actually function if I'm going to have my phone on. Oh, you bastard. Yeah, start that over again. Grab a hold of my phone. All right, that's up. Get that going. Okay, so I need to share. I haven't gone into any of my stuff. So share, copy. Then let's go into here. Might be a KVK. I don't even know what night it is. Might be a KVK night, so everybody's in bed early. Oops, excuse me. There we go. Matter of fact, people logged off the Discord servers when I said I'm going to go live. Like the hell with that. Oh, it's not. Oh, they're back up. Okay. That's just an update. Oh my gosh. Like I said, you're going to see me drinking a bottle of Pepto. Oh my gosh. Here we go. And start that. And I got other stuff to do. No, we're not going to spend money on a broadcast out there. I'm not up to snuff. Not up to snuff. Man, I know Google is changing the screens on the phones to where you cannot see the chat and clearly big screen the video anymore. And that's because they insert their own advertising later, and it's really to the detriment of anybody who's creating content. Uh, the it's evening, Jim. The it's to the detriment of anybody that's creating content. The I know I posted up in the Discord chat the other day. Somebody, just Disappointing Turtle, got a hold of me and said that people were stealing my content. I misunderstood her. I thought she said I got hacked. She used the word hacked, and that means something different than stealing. Uh, the and what was happening was somebody was downloading my videos and then re-uploading them as their own. And when she's in England, I'm in the States, so when I do the exact same search that she was doing to find the content, uh, I get a different result than she does. So Google was hiding that from me, but it wasn't hiding it from her. And meanwhile, Google is monetizing that guy's traffic with my videos, uh, because Google, and I talked about this last year. And matter of fact, I talked about it with Turtle about 3 months before she got monetized. I said, you need to go file your stuff with your taxes for Britain, because Google had come up with this agreement with the Biden White House that they were going to tax any overseas videos separately if you didn't file by this date. So you had to file certain things. If you're not an American citizen, any watching of videos overseas, or not, wrong way of saying that, any Americans, one of the places where the money's at, that watches a video from overseas and there's an ad played, that is not only taxed at your country's tax rate, but there's an additional 30% US tax on that video being watched. And literally, it was the US government working with Google to create a worldwide internet tax. Okay. Uh, I warned more than a few content creators about it, and I think most of them ignored me. And now, to the detriment, if you get 5 to 6% of the income that you generate, you'd be lucky, because you had a drop dead date to file that you were in business beforehand and monetize. And I don't think she did that. I don't know for sure. Hadn't really talked to her because she's been off in her world doing stuff with the other YouTube Gun to Glory guys, to their own detriment. Uh, they got into this me against them things. Jonathan High and Rip High, how's it going? Uh, the I don't know. It's just like when we do these lives and we talk about world politics. I told everybody 90 days before it happened what was going to happen in the world, and then it happened. But if you watched any news outlets, they said no, it's not. Uh, it's not a crystal ball. It is literally hundreds of years of history replaying itself out. It's the same con over and over again. Uh, and if you just understand the liberal mindset of how smart they think they are, that gets reinforced by those willing to believe that people have good intentions all the time. It's not a naive, it's so wonderful to believe that in the hearts of good people, but you got to believe that there are bad people out there too, and those people seek power. Uh, you can't ignore the steps that certain people take and the methods that they employ, because it's the same method over and over again. It's no different than a guy conning the wristwatch off your wrist out in the thing than big world politics. They're the very similar tactics. Uh, the you watch it on the world play. I mean, so if we can go back over the recent events and we can go back over the last 2 years of history, and then all of a sudden you go, aha, what did Trump do? Trump went out to NATO. He forced them to increase their money. And if you don't understand what that means, it means they have to allocate a weapons budget to fight Russia. Then you get a Democrat in office in the United States, and they create a scenario where all these countries may have to turn around and buy weapons with what takes years. What Trump put in place takes years to accomplish in the European countries. Now they got the budget. Now they got to buy the weapons because there's a threat from the Russian NATO underneath their alliance, and they buy them from us. And there's a major kickback. It's a money laundering operation. Trump wanted them to meet their obligations so that we could reduce our obligations in the United States. We change administrations and they go, here's an opportunity to make money. Okay. And it is a pay for play scheme. And that's why you see Hunter's laptop come into like, oh my God, did the crack smoking man whore's laptop, who was complaining on video that he was having to money launder for the entire family? If you trust your money laundering operation to a crack addict, you're not the smartest freaking family in the world, right? Uh, you've got some freaking some processes you need to work out inside the family administration there. But if you've never gone out and searched out the videos that were made public off of his laptop, he literally was complaining that the family mistreated him because they were always coming in and asking for more money because he had to be the face of the money laundering operation. And that's part of what's on that laptop. Then it goes, oh, that's just a Republican conspiracy there. It wasn't. And it's now, what was it, 3 days ago? They asked the FBI, where's the laptop? We don't know. I was like, all the videos are made public. Yeah, but we don't know where we put it. That kind of stuff. What are you going to do about that? Weird crap going on there, right? Uh, like I said, it's not new. You just have to understand how people think, and then you know where they're going to go next. It's the same in this game because people act and play according to the environment they grew up in, and that includes their political environment, their governmental environment, their educational environment. Uh, I complained many times in the past about the lack of deductive reasoning being taught in high school education. Uh, and I started off this live cast, with I got an eighth grade Christian upgrading and eighth grade education. And while I've got further than an eighth grade education, I've worked atomic accelerators, of satellite and integration, securities. I've developed software. But to be frankly and honest with everybody, I've gone to school for none of it. I literally can teach myself because of my prior to 13-year-old education was so excellent. I went to a Monday night school. The people who think the moon landing was fake, they're the same people who you hand them a slide ruler and say, hey, get us to the moon using that. They couldn't get us to the moon using a calculator. But we're talking about people who used a pencil and a slide ruler and freaking educatedly shot ourselves to the moon. But because you can't believe it's possible because you don't have the education to know that you could do it too if you were taught to do it at the right age, it becomes improbable, right? Not achievable. In the mindsets, because somebody's always telling you can't, and I'm not a big believer in can't. And there's a reason I'm not a big believer in can't. What I got over here? I got. Hold on, I got people in the Discord ping ponging me here. Let me look in here. Oh, for those who did not know yet, if this, I don't know what that is. come here to check if this is a scam. I don't know what that is. What else we got going on in Discord? I got Groot telling me that I need to come to his Discord channel, which I don't know why I need to come to his Discord channel. I believe the last time I exited out of his channel was because I told him all the trolls were in his alliance and that they were going to screw him over, and he kept going, well, they're family and I'm sticking with them. And I'm like, well, choices are made. Uh, Look, it's just past experience, and I know the players, and I know what they're doing, and I know what they've done, and I know how they manipulate. So I don't need to give them a platform, so I don't. Uh, that being what it is. But in my channel over on Discord, I posted up one of those videos of a guy that was what I found that he put out some really bogus information on base math. He goes, "What you need to know about Guns of Glory." The basic, and he doesn't know a damn thing about the basics. Nothing. And that was the GGG. And when I posted that in my Discord, I got the Master Guns guy that come popping up in there, which was a character that in 5.9.2 when we first started up, we had so many people who came to play with us in 5.9.2 because we had so many players. We had 2.5 alliances of people that just came to play with me. And was not the point to 5.9.2. 5.9.2 was supposed to be a place where all the YouTubers that wanted to video stuff on YouTube, I announced a kingdom that I was going to have so that the YouTubers could have a universal reference. And then you got to understand, I got to put a little back information. They were begging me for math. And they'll all swear to God they weren't, but they were all wanting, because at that time, remember, this is prior to the guards, they wanted me to go in there and says, well, could you share your stuff for all the math for the marches that you built up there so that we can all work on it, because I was pretty much done with Guns of Glory then. And they were begging me for math, and then we, man, this is where I was trying to help Turtle because I liked her work ethic and her business background. Okay, that was the things that enticed me to help her. And I said, well, what we need to do is we need to build a kingdom. And and I'm shaking a little bit because I know I've got to broach this subject. Me and Arkin, who recently passed, excuse me, we were discussing building something where we could build tools. And my enticement to it was to build an education platform to where the people who wanted to sponge off and build their YouTube universities around this subject, I was more than willing to hand it off. I just wanted a standard, a base, so that everybody understood and agreed. And that was the only condition in which I would help with the math. Okay. And quite frankly, every YouTuber except Turtle blew me off. But then Turtle kind of threw in with the people that blew me off, about a year later. Because when the trolls came out in force, and I mean, literally started calling her racist and stuff, she just ran away from me as fast as she possibly could because she thought, because that's one of the weapons that liberals use. They just yell the word racist anytime they can, and quite frankly, no one likes that word. I mean, especially if you got a weak constitution to stand up to it. And Arkin's one of the people that in Master Guns, and this is one of the things where he come in there, and I literally said in the Discord, I said this was just shitty things to come in here after Arkin's passing. And he's like, well, what's Arkin got to do? Because Arkin was my enforcer in 592, not me. So all the stuff I got accused of in 592, Arkin was usually the guy doing it. Because Arkin was a excellent strategist. I mean, and his desire was to play the game, engage the game, attack and kill. And I gave him carte blanche to do that. And I backed every move he made when I wasn't around, and the decisions he made. I said I did it. Good or bad, I played the bad guy. He played the good guy. He'd make the peace after I did things, and that was our pairing on that one. People have no clue how much one-on-one time discussion we had, to the point where we hated each other at some points, because I still had a business to run. I still had a business model to follow. And what I seen him do, sometimes we'd get into it. And he's his own man. He was a good man. So anybody that met Arkin in game, you know, life of the party, you know, always joking, serious man. The so and if you've been around the lives for years, you knew him. We had a nice live team going there for a long time, and the reason we stopped the lives was because I was leaning on the live team to what we started was supposed to be something for the YouTube things. They didn't follow suit. They didn't put in the work. And then because it wasn't something I wanted to do solo, I started leading on the live team to pick up the slack that the other YouTubers were supposed to pick up. And it wasn't fair to them. So at some point we had a big old discussion, and I turned around and I said, okay, I get it. I lean too hard on you guys to run my business when it's your game. They were doing it for free. There's, there was none of that. They weren't getting paid for the entertainment value they were bringing you guys. And it wasn't their job to do that. It was supposed to be for other YouTubers. I was trying to build them up to learn how to do the job they claim they do, but they think reading the news announcements in a 10-minute video is what it is to be a YouTuber, and it's not. You've got to bring something that moves the audience in an educational platform. I've done that over the years, and I wanted others to start doing it, at least to take the steps to learn to do it. Life after dark, what the fuck is what the fuck, man? What are you talking about? So, it's the I lost my place here. You got to understand my mindset here. I miss going to Krista's funeral, Arkin's funeral. I've been in hospice care. As you can tell, I'm not dead. Because I don't believe in freaking quitters. Click here to return to Samsung Dex. Okay. Is what it is type stuff. April 1st. Wow. Schedule for April 1st. What the hell? March, April. Okay, this is April 1st. Uh, April Fools. Excellent. If you don't know, hundreds of people went to Arkin's funeral. Uh, Arkin was a hockey coach. Uh, I mean, they had a massive funeral. Uh, I will probably when Creep went and if you guys remember Creep, he took some video. Uh, he's supposed to be sending it out. I may put it up on the channel for people to watch. It was supposedly a really big show. Uh, the They have a GoFundMe. I don't have the address for the GoFundMe for his wife. Uh, for those in game, that's 𝙂𝙪𝙣𝙈. The I don't know if you'll ever see her in game again. Uh, I know Chris used to take care of her account for him on a regular basis. I don't know if she, I you got. I don't hang out in the other social platforms. Uh, I try to keep my distance from all that stuff so that I don't get influenced by it. The There's so many rumors and the game tries its best to run propaganda through those channels, and I try to avoid that propaganda. There's always people in there throwing propaganda of one kind or another up, and I've told everybody stay out of those rooms for that reason. Uh, Plus, what's it? The one channel gets hacked. The one platform gets hacked all the time. I used to avoid all the Discord stuff until they updated the Discord software because the Discord software used to hack your device. The Thanks, Deanna. Oh, I see you updated the picture. That's JD. The I can actually see that from this distance without my glasses. Yeah, yeah, that's yeah, it's the conflict between my business interests and you know the fun part of the game. Plus, I've been doing this for years. It's not fun for me to do this anymore. Uh, I got other shit I want to do. I got a family I got to take care of. I know some of the discussions me and Chris were having, last time we were talked was, you know, basically about me needing to take care of my family before I pass on. Uh, and he was working on that too. We just, Chris wasn't that old. He's, I think, 35. Uh, we never saw this coming. The and he was getting to position. I mean, he was thinking the same way. We were talking about long-term financing, and he earlier in life, you know, saw himself having more time to take care of this stuff. Uh, so his death hit me as like, shit, who the hell knew I would outlast him? Uh, but I've been, for the last year, I've worked on getting a monthly income for my wife after I pass because the anytime, I mean, the YouTube money would keep coming in for a while, but it slowly drifts down because YouTube, no matter how good the content is, if it's more than 2 weeks old, YouTube's always trying to let the next guy see if he can beat me. And it drifts the older content down. Uh, it Sometimes somebody will spark up a topic trying to outperform me in keywords, but then I notice the video on my videos pick up the follow up. I get a bump from it. So every time somebody tries to build content to build themselves up, they typically YouTube winds up comparing them to me on the basis of keywords, and then I snap back above them. Uh, so I thank everybody for that. And I get comments all the time from in the Discord and in the freaking YouTube and in the any of the social platforms about how much I'm helping them with old content, and that's gratifying. Uh, it's basic stuff. I took the approach from this thing from a long time ago. Learn the basics, and you can teach anything, no matter how much they change it. If you understand the basics, uh, the you can learn anything. So when we got into this discussion, like Master Guns come in there, and I know good and well, Master Guns is we had a problem with the husband. I don't want to say problem. It was Sticks and his spouse. Uh, they felt because we had more than one alliance that they were going to run. You know, we let them run it for a while, and then they didn't understand that that was part of a business expansion. That and also and what they didn't understand was when people came to 592 to play with me, they didn't come to play with Sticks. And forgive me, I can't remember his wife's name. And so I was constantly getting comments about that. But the reality was there's only the game limits 100 players to an alliance, and we had like 250, 300 players within the first couple 3 weeks. And then I think one of the problems that took place was Sticks didn't want to be in charge of the second. We put we kind of tricked uh, this one girl that we didn't want in the main alliance into running the second alliance. Matter of fact, we were on the team speak and we were discussing as we were getting too big too fast. I was like, well, we need a second alliance. And we had this one girl we didn't want in there because she's a drama queen. I said, watch this. I'm going to get her to volunteer to run the second alliance. And I can't remember. I did a couple lines and in TeamSpeak when she come on there, she says, "Oh, I'll do it." And everybody laughs like, "What was that?" And I'm like, "Oh, no, I don't know why they're laughing." The and it was a way to get her out of the main alliance and not cause drama, because we had drama with her in 533, and I mean she's a good R5. All she had to do was keep the rail running, but because she floats around, she eventually quit and she turned it over to the guy that was called Master Guns that you guys saw in the Discord chat room. And I think he's just a regular troll because he come back after 2 years, no one talking to him, no one referencing him, that kind of stuff, and just instantly just started in on personal stuff like his lithium freaking ran out, and like we beat up on him yesterday, and I think I was getting like 20, 30 complaints a day about getting rid of him, and because we tried for like a week to let him just run it when that person, the woman let it turned it over to him without telling us, and then we had to force him out. I mean, we had to, he was like, look, you need to turn this over, and then I think Sticks took over the R5 position of that. Then they turned around and said, well, I'm just going to go out and do my thing. I said, again, guys, you can't realize that these people came to play with Gunmuse. They didn't come to play with Sticks. And there was no way to make everybody happy because of game restrictions. Matter of fact, I made it hard on purpose to prove a point to the 592 Alliance. I don't know if you guys remember those videos and the number one complaints. We were up in the upper corner during the server launch. We were in the level 1 tile areas in the upper left-hand corner of the game. To prove that none of the things that everybody thought was restrictive in the game were actually restrictive. None of it. While in the upper left-hand corner, we were the number 1 alliance and the fastest growing alliance. The strongest players. While in the Worst possible tile area. Because the reality is you go hang out in that level 8 tile area, or what's a level 8 tile area now? What was a level 7 tile area then? You screw yourselves on all the threats and you don't get all those little threat quests done. Right? Somebody new joins your alliance nowadays and they instantly teleport to your level 8 freaking farming tile because you decided you're going to be farmers on day one of a new alliance, on a new kingdom. You've decided that. Well, the game, no one pays attention to, doesn't give you red guard camps. It doesn't give you the threats you need to get the quest done. And when you get the quest done, you get more RSS from the quests than you would ever get from farming on a daily basis, getting your max tile returns. And people don't notice that, and I noticed that. The video, God, it's got to be 3 years old now. How to build a farm alliance, where I literally went in and built a farm alliance by myself with my own farms and nobody else, so that we could prove that if you did all the quests on all the castles, you could actually elevate the farming tiles. So we took a level 5 farming tile area and turned it into a level 6 farming tile area and raised it to max threat level faster because I kept everybody out of the area for 180 kilometers. Just a little spoiler on that video. The 180 kilometers from fort to fort. That's the distance you need to keep your own damn farm alliance away from your main alliance. If you put your farm alliance butted up against your main alliance, like a trolling alliance will do, you're screwing yourself on events. You're making it harder to get your dailies done. You're making it harder to get your farms done. Everything's harder. And 180 kilometers means that you can be hanging out in your farm alliance with your main castle and still do gates. And now gates is different. Now you got 30 minutes to do gates, right? That's a nice improvement on the game. Still not what I asked them for, to where you get 24 hours to get it done. Now the gate starts and you got to, whenever your alliance starts doing, everybody's got to stop what they're doing and go do the gates for 30 minutes at that point in time. At least you can get one hit in 30 minutes and it's not dead in 5 seconds. And it's based on you, not them. And guys, if I have to get up and puke, I'll try to warn you, but it's hitting me here. Give me just a second. All right. Yeah, so the man, I'm glad to see people coming on here. It's late Friday night. Yeah. I'm missing out on the classic car cruise in our town today because I couldn't go sit on the side of the road. I don't even know how long I can sit out here staring at a camera. I've been trying while laying around in bed for the last month to find local gamers, people that claim they're gamers, to come in and learn to do what I do here on a game that they're interested in. It doesn't have to be, damn sure doesn't have to be Guns of Glory. I'm not in the mood to help China out. World politics being what world politics is, Russia's a distraction so China can gain ground. We are absolutely endorsing China taking over major parts of the world at this point. We talk about politics stuff. Pac-Man, how's it going? The Uber bitch from New York the uh, the Uber bitch from New York who turned around and shut down the Amazon warehouse center, denying jobs to New York. That was the media mantra. But when you get into the world politics of it, and China pretty much owning the Democratic Party in every shape, manner, or form, AOC is what I'm talking about. Uh, if you really start looking at the shipping problems that we've had with California, Renoir, glad to see you. The Vic, how's it going? The shipping problems that we had with the East Coast, I want everybody to think in context. Imagine had Amazon opened up a shipping center in New York if we could have bought more goods from Europe instead of China. And then you look at the disease problems, all the other problems, and everything that went on. This goes into a big, long 3-year cycle of a plan to bleed America dry straight to China. And you start looking at all the big political plays that took place, and it's just one domino after another that's favored China every single step of the way. We could be buying goods from Europe. We should be selling oil to Europe. Uh, the Garnett, appreciate it. Well, these are just facts. These are the kind of facts that get you kicked off YouTube. They have pulled down major public figures off YouTube for saying these things, and I'll say them again. You can pull me off YouTube. I don't give a shit. All I'm doing is commenting on the history of true events. And opining of what I think might happen next because it's happened in the past. Yeah, it's almost not opinion. It's just a repeat. But yeah, what we saw took place where they shut down that warehouse center for Amazon. Not that I'm a fan of Amazon. Amazon's set and dedicated goal was to destroy Main Street businesses. Me having owned 4 Main Street businesses, it got to the point when I shut down all my retail stores was because of Amazon, where it got to the point where where China is sending stuff straight into Amazon for selling. And there was no ability for Europe to do that. Amazon was trying to set up that warehouse center in New York, which major shipping port in New York, right? That would have opened up some European sales into the U.S. to compete. Wasn't allowed. Hell, you can go back to George Bush. George Bush tried to let the Middle East buy a shipping port. Oh, excuse me. They wanted to open up a Middle Eastern in Dubai, a Hong Kong style. And remember, George Bush was communist the country because we just had the racist George Bush was letting the Arabs sell good. Was going to let a nuke into the country if they let them have a port. A port is a desk where paperwork is done. Meanwhile, we sold 9 ports to China in San Francisco under the Clinton administration. For those that don't know, that's why all the goods come in through San Francisco. But when George Bush was going to let a nuke into the country if we let the Arabs from Dubai pay $7 billion to ship goods to the United States because they're going to ship nukes to us. Because George Bush was the racist, but everybody fighting George Bush was claiming that all the Arabs wanted to nuke us. Don't think too deep into the hypocrisy. Man, I don't know how much longer I can do this. So they shut down that port. They shut down in under George Bush to allow goods come from the Middle East, and then they shut down the ports things, and they shut down the shipping of oil to cut the cost for the cost of living in Europe. All these dominoes. Now you got Russia and China working together, and you've heard me talk in the past about the number one stated goal of Putin was to replace the US dollar. And for those who missed the little news things, one of the first things that happened on this Russian war was Saudi Arabia wanted to start trading oil, which is traded worldwide in US dollars. We're the world reserve currency. That's why that's done that way. They wanted to start trading it in yuan, the Chinese currency. There's been this constant ongoing step to get the world off the US dollar and into China, or it used to be Russia, but so China's got Russia is backing Russia because China's trying to push for the control of the world oil market by everything being sold in oil being referenced to them. And for those who don't know what the follow of that would be, United States becomes a third world country overnight, and your $7 gas becomes $21 gas. The immediately, because we have printed so many fucking dollars. Dollars we don't need. They were printed to destroy the value of the dollar. It's one of the other reasons for the move to crypto, and I've been talking about the crypto stuff. The crypto's not ready for prime time. I'm gonna stake that out there. You know, everybody talks about it like it's a godsend and it's a counter to inflation. It is not the counter to inflation. That's a lie. Uh, it is property. It has the ability to stabilize worldwide currency, but it's not there yet. Um, the reason that it's got the capability is because it is, you know, like Bitcoin, which is like the gold standard for crypto, has a 40-year run planned to it. And by that time, once enough of the cryptocurrency has been printed worldwide and spread out and decentralized worldwide, uh, it really could be, and the math dictates out the best reserve currency that's ever been in the history of the world. But it's not there yet. It's 10 years into a 50-year cycle. People don't know enough about Bitcoin to know that it's got a 50-year plan to it. It was never designed to go, oh, here it is, replace everything. Replacing changes shit in a drastic and unpredictable way. And China has been building coal power plants to get as much Bitcoin as they possibly can, so that if somebody tries to pull the lever prematurely on Bitcoin, they will be able to influence the market drastically in up and down ways for years. They can't control it forever. Honestly, the average blue collar American right now buying $100 worth of Bitcoin and just forgetting they own it, but not forgetting how they own it, would crush China. You know, gets nukes again. They never had the nukes. Uh, okay, and you got to understand that Russia has been feeding them nuclear material and technology, uh, partly to, if the U.S. went in there to take care of Iran, like we should have done underneath Obama, okay, we should have pulled that trigger. Uh, the That's when it should have been stopped. The people were for it. The people revolted against their own country trying to do what it's doing. It's only the political power in Iran that's causing a problem. It's not Iran causing a problem. It could have been dealt with, wiped out the frickin' Ayatollah, which Jimmy Carter put in place. So again, we're talking about a democratic problem created a problem. You got to. The world politics is one of our parties has been bought by communists for a long 50-year period. I mean, they get caught on tape. Ted Kennedy got caught on stage saying, "Hey, you know, help us beat Reagan, and we'll back off all this anti-nuke stuff. We'll keep you in power." Obama got caught on stage on a hot mic saying the same damn thing. You know, these people, that party is for sale. You got to remember what politicians are. They're lawyers that are so bad at their job, they couldn't make a living as a lawyer. So they got into politics. And then wherever there's a nickel not tied down, they're going for it. People so bad at their job that they can't make money as a lawyer become instant millionaires overnight. That money doesn't come out of thin air because they're geniuses. They've already failed at their chosen profession. And then they're out there writing laws, and somehow they make millions now that they can write the laws. The laws that are supposed to prevent power from making millions, right? And they're backed by a bunch of people who go to a camera and says, "Oh, those evil power people are always manipulating things," and they don't see the hypocrisy in the statement. The the people who are conservative and just want to be left alone. My God, you know they don't care they're poor, but you've seen Hollywood guys go through this. I can't believe these poor people are always voting against their own interest. They're always voting against handouts and destruction of dollar. They're not voting against hard work and working their way up or living a good life without somebody else's involvement. They just don't get what it means to be conservative. I just ordered $3,000-4,000 worth of solar equipment. There's a tax incentive right now to where they say, well, you can go out and sign this agreement with the U.S. government, and they'll come into your home and they'll put $48,000 of solar equipment on my house. All right, my electric bill is $800 a month right now. We're testing missiles. I think Trump had it. It was like he's like, we'll placate this. Said, man, we convert all these craters, these missile craters from Korean War into freaking beachfront property. Man, you'll be rich. I I really think that guy was probably going to go for it. The North Korea, it's about money and fame. The still a dictatorship, and you still got history there. Honestly, you know what people don't remember is why the United States started. You know, we got all this controversy about racism and slavery and things like that, and you just got to start asking questions to people. It's like, what country wasn't practicing slavery in 1776? And the answer to that is none were not practicing it. So when we were founded, every country in the world was practicing slavery. Every country in the world, including Britain, which we were leaving. Britain didn't get rid of slavery until 1830. And slaves prior to 1830, 9 out of 10 were Irish because Britain was at war with Ireland. And every time they captured all the people, they sold them to America to farm tobacco to send back to Europe. You could buy an Irishman for a 1/10 of what a black man cost. A black slave was a status symbol of wealth in the 1700s. And the big portion of black slavery didn't come around until the 1830s when Britain stopped its slavery practice by law. That's when you get the rum for slaves triangle trade. That's when that started. 50 years after we were founded. That was to fill the economic gap of a system we had in place because it's a worldwide system. And you have to think of it in the same way that we think. Back then, we were not a first world nation. We were a third world nation. You look at any Russian country, China, or I've been to 27 countries. And anywhere you go, the music, the styles, the television shows are, they're, oh, excuse me. The A-Team is just now becoming a hit in Russia type stuff, right? They're 30, 40 years. behind the first world nations' cultural leading aspects. So we slingshotted from third world nation to first world nation after World War II. So I mean, and then the Democratic Party took advantage of that and tried to act like they weren't the purveyors of slavery or weren't trying to destroy every brown person on the planet. The number one goal of the Democratic Party from the 1870s on has been to end the number of useless eaters in the United States. That's what the progressive movement is. It's eugenics. And at some point, I've said this before, you just have to believe them that they believe what they say, and ignore the marketing. And this is why Trump grew so fast with the black community. Was, what do you got to lose? I mean, the Democrats have made idle promises for 100 years that have never come to fruition. And well, here's a good recent fact. They just announced it from the Biden administration that unemployment is at the unemployment rate decrease is at its fastest, sharpest drop since 1960. Okay. The number of people who come off unemployment has decreased faster than since, and the last time it dropped this far is 1960. Now, since the start of the disease we cannot mention on YouTube, where 30 million Americans lost their jobs, 16 million of them still have not gone back to work. So how do you reconcile the fastest drop in unemployment? Well, the last time you had this fast of a drop in unemployment was in 2009, when the Obama administration changed how people were counted on unemployment. In other words, if you haven't worked for 18 months, you no longer exist. You're not a human being to be counted. That's how you do it. It's statistical averaging. And by statistical averaging, 50% of the humans on the planet have one boob and one testicle. Statistical fact. I want that to sink in, because it's you got to think about that one. Statistically, 50% of the people have one boob and one testicle. So it's how you manipulate the math. It's why Obama's rate dropped so fast. It's why just after 18 months you stop counting them. But the fact is, 16 million people who had a job under Trump don't have a job now. That's a fact. So you can talk about the lowest unemployment rate drop in history, but those other 16 million people have no unemployment check, have no welfare check, and don't have food in their mouth unless somebody else is feeding them. What I couldn't believe the other day, it was like, well, if we'd have known about Hunter Biden's laptop, 10% of the people who voted for Biden wouldn't have voted for him now. I'm like, you mean what? Guys, let me tell you another little fact that gets overridden because of the 90s. This was never made out by CNN. Okay. The number one income to the Biden family in the 1990s was Joe Biden's brother. Remember, he says, I don't know anything about my son's or my brother's business dealings. And no one's going, what's the deal with your brother's business dealings? In the 90s, Joe Biden's brother suddenly became a war zone contractor paid for by the federal government to build housings after we dropped bombs in a war-torn zone. Joe Biden's brother is still a war zone. I wonder if there's any places where they've blown down some apartment complexes recently that maybe Joe Biden's brother might get some uh, grants to go and rebuild some houses. I wonder if has anybody seen any buildings go away? I'll tell you what the scariest things I saw today. And I was just passing by the TV because I turned the TV on for the dogs. And I saw like 16-year-old girls getting back on a train to go back to Ukraine because Russia had pulled back from Kiev. Russia cannot manage a freaking supply chain. They're pulling back because they screwed up. But they're going to fix this problem and they're going to move forward because Ukraine is not the end goal. The Putin does not need the Ukraine. He needs a strategic footing for the 5 countries that border the Ukraine so that he can control oil to Europe. I wrote it in an article. I wish I could find that article. That article was up back when they very first came out with, the internet was just starting. I didn't own my own company at that time, my own hosting company at that time. And I had a free website from my provider back in 1998. And I put a whole bunch of articles up back then. And one of the I explained to everybody, this is before Putin was re-elected the president over there. I explained to everybody that Putin has a goal to control oil in Europe. And nothing's going to stop him. Plus, when we collapsed the Communist Party and its power in Russia, we didn't go and pick up the pieces. So the criminal element that was running the Communist Party in Russia slowly took over the individual pieces and reestablished itself underneath new labels. That's one of the problems that you have in Ukraine is what they call the oligarchs. Each own their own television stations, and they're they were promoting things that people that can control, and that's how this current president in Ukraine got kind of into power. He was a comedian. If you don't know, he was literally a comedian, and they thought he'd be a puppet piece. When he got to be president, it looked like he was going to be a puppet piece because there was so much corruption in the Ukraine that he really couldn't fight it on his own. This war kind of made it to where people are listening to him now. The people of Ukraine are listening to him now. I wish he'd come on some news stations and said, hey, stay the hell in Poland. Stop getting on the trains. Like I said, this 16-year-old girl was like, oh, we're heading back. My friends on Twitter and Facebook all said the fighting stopped and everything's okay now. I'm like, no, they're going to do another push. I couldn't believe what I was hearing there. And no one of any authority is telling them, whoa, wrong. This is not how this shit ends. Putin is not going to stop here. He's got a very long-term goal. I've stated it out for more than almost 30 years now. This is going to be bad. People are going to die because the news is so fucking corrupt. They just hate to admit that everything they've said and that they promoted is wrong. It's a lie. But I promise you, they are on board with what's being said. They just don't want to be caught being on board. This goes, all the way back to when the New York Times was endorsing the Nazis. But now it's the paper of record, right? Oh yeah, did we endorse the Nazis? Yeah, you did. Uh, the I think we talked about this on the last live. President Kennedy's father, Joe Kennedy, the common story was he made his money selling liquor. He made his money being bought by the Nazi Party and was advocating he got caught going to Nazi Germany, and he got caught going to Nazi Germany and trying to backdoor throw U.S. support in there when he was a senator, and he literally got shut down and kicked. I mean, that to where his name was mud. Uh, I don't know if you call America and Texas the same kind. Texas is his own country, man. I love Texas. They ever say, "Hey, we're separating from the Union," I'm a Texan tomorrow. The Look, I got friends from I've said this before, that from the Middle East that moved to New York and then moved to Texas, said this is the last bastion of freedom on the planet. Uh, Most of America's freedoms have been taken away. You don't have your right to property anymore. That's the number one attack by the Democratic Party in any form of politics they bring it. Whether it's feminism, gay rights, marriage, environmentalism, whatever it is, it's always an attack on property. Uh, People do not understand that owning a property was considered a basic human instinct by the founders of the Constitution. You're born as an infant running around going, mine, 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 mine. You're born with these inalienable rights, the right to own and possess. Uh, the original colonists in the United States in Jonestown, tried communism. Everybody got an equal share, and it led to laziness. People did not, and when they got rid of the communism in Jonestown, was the only thing that allowed Jonestown to survive. But they tried it. That's a part of American history that no one talks about. Uh, I mean, it's so important to know that we tried it here. We've tried it in the past. It's been tried everywhere else. It doesn't work because of human instinct. I mean, your your basic DNA build is to not burn a calorie that you don't need to. It's laziness, path of least resistance. If you can get something for nothing, you will. That's why criminal elements exist. The it's Everybody talks about the nature and the science, but they never talk about it in human aspects. Uh, it's an important thing to understand the nature of man and not talk about peace, love, and anything else. The nature of man is easiest. It takes a moral effort to rise above a handout, but that's almost gone today. Uh, the handout is expected. USSR Civil War. This is a money laundering operation right now that's going on in the Ukraine. Uh, it's Obama sent them blankets. Trump tried to send them missiles to fight tanks. Biden offered them a ride out of the country to just hand it over to Russia. Figure out who's dealing with the Russians and who wasn't. Look, there's a way to look at the Russian perspective. Like I said, when the collapse of the wall, uh, we brought all these countries into NATO, which looked like to put a pressure against Russia being destroyed as an individual country, uh, instead of saying, "Hey, we'll help Russia become a republic." Oh. And we should have done nation building then. Uh, but what they started was a restoration project. I got to go.